We continue tracking Hurricane Melissa in the Caribbean. The storm is headed to Jamaica, expected to make landfall there by tomorrow morning. And it's bringing 165-mile-per-hour winds. Residents and tourists there are hunkering down, bracing for flooding and mudslides. So coming to us live from the island is a resident and manager at a local bed and breakfast. Andrea, thank you for joining us. Let's talk about the conditions that you're seeing. What's happening right now?
Right now, it's pretty calm. We are on the west end of the island. We're in Lucy, Hanover, which is midway between Montego Bay and Negril. And it's pretty calm, uneventful at this point.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at the greenery behind you. Not really too much wind at this point. But how is the staff preparing for the storm? What kind of reaction are you seeing and hearing from your hotel guests?
Well, I think our guests are pretty calm. We did accept a couple of guests from other properties that didn't have, generators and things like that. So we have two properties. So the one you're showing now is by the sea. So we move all our guests inland to the other property, which is, a little bit farther from the ocean.
Sure. So are there any concerns about the infrastructure of the property there? Has it sustained strong storms in the past?
So we went through Beryl, last year. At the property where we are right now, we're pretty resilient. We think it's a concrete structure. Our roof has the hurricane straps or J-bolts in them. We actually have hurricane shutters. We have about 50 gallons of diesel fuel for our generator. We have about 200 pounds of propane. We have about 12,500 gallons of water in our water tank, which is partially below ground. So I think we're looking pretty good here at Blue Paloma.
When you were watching Melissa's path, you must have been a little bit nervous over the weekend, though.
Yes, we were, because over the weekend, it looks like it was mostly coming towards Hanover, Westmoreland, Westmoreland, Hanover to St. James. And then it shifted east, and now it's moved a little bit more central, so a little bit closer to us here on the west end of the island.
Well, I know you're preparing and bracing and getting all of your residents there taken care of. We appreciate your time. We'll check back with you, Andrea. Thank you so much. All right, let's get to meteorologist Zoe Mintz. You've been tracking this. We've been talking about Melissa since last week, knowing it was going toward Jamaica.
Yeah.
Will make landfall.
It's going to be overnight tonight and into early tomorrow morning. That's when the bulk of the impacts are going to be hitting them. And this has been a monster of a storm system. It extremely rapidly intensified over the weekend, and it was heading east just over the past couple of hours. Now it's taking a sharp turn to the north, and that is where it is going to be making a bullseye in Jamaica. So let's take a look at that storm system again, because it is very, very impressive on our satellite imagery. This is Melissa, this cluster, this swirling whirl of storms, of cloud coverage. Again, it's a Category 5. It has sustained winds of 175 miles an hour. In fact, there was hurricane hunters that tried to go through the wall of the eye wall early this morning. Hurricane hunters are the ones that have to fly their planes through the storm to make sure that they get the correct data. They actually had to evacuate early because there was 200-plus-mile-an-hour winds in the eye wall. Again, this storm system is now beginning to turn off to the north, and if we put up the path of this system, again, it is likely going to be making a bullseye over Jamaica, then making its way over Cuba before heading into the open Atlantic by the time that we step out later this upcoming week. It, again, is going to be a slow mover, though, as this storm system continues to just pummel Jamaica, potentially dropping upwards of 40 inches of rainfall. That is likely going to lead to catastrophic landslides and flash flooding, potentially upwards of 20 to 30 inches in eastern Cuba and 15 inches in Haiti. Not only are we going to be seeing a lot of rainfall, but there's also going to be a lot of storm surge. This is what we know as our high swells, where there's going to be the potential of 9 to 13 feet of storm surge in Jamaica and upwards of 6 to 9 feet in southeastern Cuba. Again, this is going to be overnight tonight into Tuesday, and then Wednesday is when the storm surge will be the highest for Jamaica. So again, it is going to be widespread impacts that are going to include rain, strong winds. These are likely hurricane force wind gusts that are going to be moving directly over Jamaica, over Cuba. But again, for the United States, it looks like all of the impacts are going to be at least farther to our south. Back to you, Juliet.
All right, Zoe, thank you.